Traders, there is still so much volatility in the markets, so much uncertainty, because who knows what's going to come out of Trump's mouth next. What I do know is that we've got some great trade ideas for you this week, so let's take a look. Welcome to Simply Forex, the channel that gives you in-depth market analysis, trade ideas, tips, and advice so you too can succeed at trading. And if you stay till the end of this vid, I'm going to give you all of my swing trades for this week, so stay tuned for that. Where to start, guys? We've got loads of trades to look at, but we're going to start with the indices. So this is the NASDAQ, guys. This is the weekly chart. We're going to look at weekly charts because these are swing trade ideas. There's still so much uncertainty, but I just want to pinpoint a couple of levels for us, right? Now, if I zoom out, right, we know that this is at a good support level, right? First of all, so we're just going to look at the facts of the chart, right? This is at a good support level, and at that level, we had this big bullish candle, right? Now, price just shot up, and it's actually hit what was once support has now become resistance, right? So we're between this support level and this resistance level, okay? Now, if I drop down to the day chart, again, this is not me thinking what will happen. This is me looking at the facts of the chart, right? And this is what you must do as a trader. Don't form opinions, right? Now, if we go down to the day chart, we've got two important levels, or one important level, really, and it's this level here. Right? You can see it was once resistance and now it's become support. Now, if we get a nice big bullish candle off of here, right, then I'm looking to buy the NASDAQ, okay? And we'll see what it does at this level, right? Maybe it pushes on, maybe it comes back down. But if we get a bullish reaction here, then I think bullish NASDAQ, right? If we break this level, then we have more room to the downside, okay? So it's all about this level with the NASDAQ. It's similar for S&P and Dow Jones as well. So I'm going to wait for that to happen this week, and then I can use the facts of the chart to determine, the direction of the NASDAQ. And why is the direction of the NASDAQ so important? Because it affects all the flight to safeties, right? If indices are dropping, flight to safeties are strong. If indices are pushing up, then flight to safeties are weak. This is a general correlation that you must know, all right? So let's start with some flight to safeties, okay? So I'm going to look at Aussie dollar Swiss franc, right? And also, guys, worth pointing out, Trump, obviously can impact the indices, and therefore he is impacting the flight to safeties, right? That's the currencies that he has the most impact on, right? And we're talking about Swiss franc and yen. So we're going to look at a couple of against trend trades, first of all right? And we're going to start with the Aussie dollar Swiss franc. Now, as you know, right, flight to safeties have been strong because the indices have been dropping, right? And, we're clearly in a downtrend. This is why it's against trend. But once we get down to these levels, things are so overextended. And what we've had is a big wick rejection down there. And admittedly, not a super bullish candle, right? But a bullish-ish candle, right? That is a term, I'm sure, right? So the idea is just to trade the retrace with Aussie dollar Swiss franc, and we're not going crazy, right? We're just trying to take it up to the next psychological level and this 3,000 level, okay? And if we look at the day chart just quickly, guys, look, you can see buyers coming in, right? Buyers. Even when we get sellers, buyers are back. Sellers, buyers are back. Sellers are buyers back. Yeah, so I'm seeing all of this bullish momentum, and we can take price up to 0.53, right? I do like other Swiss franc pairs against trend, but Aussie dollar Swiss franc's the one that's setting up the best. And it's the same for yen pairs, right? There are some yen pairs that I like against trend. And remember, if we're going against Aussie dollar yen and against Aussie dollar Swiss franc, right, this is suggesting indice strength, right? Which I spoke about earlier. So Aussie dollar yen is another one that I like. If we go down to the weekly chart, again, it's a highly correlated trade with Aussie dollar Swiss franc, okay? So Price comes storming down, indices were dropping, yen was getting strong, and then bang, we had this big weekly candle bounce off of those lows, followed by a bit of indecision candle, but like, you know, there's still buyers pushing this up. If we drop to the day chart, guys, you can see we still have a little bit more room up to this next resistance level. So that's all I'll be aiming for. Again, you know, I'm not, you know, reaching for the stars. I'm just trying to take it to the next resistance level. And again, bullish, bullish, bearish, bearish, bullish, right? So have we got a little bit more room for this trade, right? And I would suggest yes, according to those weekly candles. And one more against trend trade we're going to look at. While we're looking at against trend trades, say that after a few beers, it's not that difficult really, is it? Is oil, right? Now again, if we start with the weekly chart, we know that oil was dropping like a stone as well, right? So we're in this downtrend with oil, right? You don't need to be Warren Buffett, that's clearly in a downtrend, but then look at this reaction. Look at that, right? You can't help but think OPEC have thought this is too low. Let's start manipulating price. That's their job, right? So we've got a nice big bullish wick. We've got another bullish candle. Again, because we're against trend, I'm not reaching for the stars. I'm just trying to take price back up to the next resistance level and this blue line, this 64.86. It might want to push on a little bit further into this gray zone. Moving average 20 comes down, but just aiming for in here, guys. All right. So yeah, those are my against trend trades. All right, but let's take a look at some trades that are with trend. And let's start with the US dollar. Right now, we know the US dollar has been a little bit tricky to trade. It's been very volatile, and across the US majors, some of them you want to buy and it's US dollar strength, and some of them you want to sell and it's US dollar weakness, right? It's not all been moving in the same direction with the US dollar majors. But one trade I do like, well, let's have a look at these trades that I like, but they're not top-notch A1. Let me explain. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Now, on the weekly chart, right, again, we're looking at weekly charts. These are swing trades, right? We was in this downtrend, and then we just got what's known as crappy, poopy, terrible, rangy price action. Right, it's difficult to trade that, right? And then bang, we've got a break of all of this crappy price action. Now that suggests New Zealand US dollar buys, right? And yes, it does. I would look for a retrace into here, right, and then take price again just to the next psychological level. My targets, guys, are always the next psychological level or the next piece of support or resistance, right? Depending if you're buying or selling, right? Don't reach for the stars, just reach for the next logical area to take target, right? So this 6,000 level in here is what I'm aiming for. Now, if I look at the monthly chart here, now, you know, these are swing trades. We need to look at the monthly chart, right? You can see that price is bouncing off a very important support level, right? So this would even suggest we're going to get further US dollar weakness, right? But you know, if we look at it structurally, this was in an uptrend, but now it's in a downtrend. It's retraced literally to the moving average 20, which we know is very nice dynamic resistance. We could potentially get a, you know, rebound back down to these lows according to the monthly. So with weekly and monthly, there's a little bit of conflict here, right? And please bear in mind, this monthly candle hasn't finished forming yet, right? We've still got, what is it? Yeah, we've still got a couple of weeks, right? So, but having said all that, right, New Zealand dollar, US dollar is a buy idea. Right, like I say, retrace into here, take it back up to here. Now, another one similar to this is US dollar, Canadian dollar, right? Because, yeah, again, I just wanted to come out to show you this trend line here as well, right? You can see price keeps bouncing off this trend line. Now, if we look at the weekly chart, right, you would say, Tom, that's a no-brainer, right? We're in a downtrend. What the hell are you worried about, Tom? Stop worrying, just bloody sell it. And it's difficult to disagree with that logic, right? And we could sell it potentially, you know, down to this trend line and perhaps this 7,000 level, right? But a couple of things, right? Well, not a couple. This is a positive, right? This is a very bearish candle followed by a top wick, right? This is suggesting it's coming lower, okay? And again, US dollar, Canadian dollar is a sell trade idea. So again, US dollar weakness still. Again, there's a but, right? It's a little overextended, right? If you look at the moving average 20. And also, like New Zealand dollar, US dollar, if I show you the monthly chart, right? Look at that level. Right, again, remember this monthly candle has not finished forming, and that, along with the moving average 20, is a wonderful, beautiful, amazing Gal Gadot, Mohamed Salah, all wrapped up into one beautiful bundle of a buy entry, right? Looking at the monthly chart. So we've got that weekly, monthly conflict, right? But, you know, that's not to say it may not come down to here first, and then we get a big wick up or something, right? We get a candle, perhaps looks like that, right? So looking to sell US dollar, Canadian dollar as well, but be aware of this, right? The one I really do like is US dollar yen sells. Because, okay, let's start with the monthly because we're on the monthly chart. Now, the monthly, there isn't any debate. Right now, we are in an uptrend, but all of a sudden we've started to get lower lows, right? But that aside, right, we're below the moving average 20. We're getting a big bearish candle. Again, this is the monthly candle. It hasn't finished forming, and it's just got a little bit more room to go into. Okay, this will become more clearly on the weekly, but you can see the monthly chart isn't at such an important level yet. Right, we've still got some more room. If we drop down to the weekly chart now as well, and I just zoom out, yeah, you can see we're clearly in this downtrend, right? And we're getting nothing but bearish candles, right? Bearish, 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 a little bit more room to move into. I'm actually in this trade from last week, right? And my target is to take it back down to this 141. All right, guys, so that's US dollar. Still got loads of trade ideas to share with you guys. Before we do, if I could please ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Also, guys, please don't forget to come join our trading community. It's free, right? You can come in, you can talk to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas, have a chat about the football if you like. So please come join our free Discord channel. Also, guys, if you want to improve as a trader and you want to access all of our premium trading education, then please go visit our website, www.simply-forex.com. On there, we've got our Simply Forex Complete Trading Course. We've got the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. And we've got the VIP Discord Trading Academy, right? So check it all out. All the information you need is on there. Also, guys, please don't forget to leave a comment. Yeah, if you're enjoying the analysis, just put a thumbs up or something. Or if you've got a question about trading, don't be shy. Leave it below this vid. Right, let's carry on with a couple of euro pairs now, right? So these are interesting, right? So euro New Zealand dollar. If we look at the weekly chart, right, we can see we're clearly in this uptrend, right? And price has retraced to what was once resistance, has become support, right? So euro New Zealand, we've got the potential to take this back up to these highs in here. Okay. If we drop down to the day chart, yeah, you can see price is kind of stuttering in here now, right? It's found a bit of, equilibrium. If it breaks this level, not interested. But if we start seeing bullish daily candles out of this level, then very much interested. And this 198,000 level would be a good level, right? It's also the same with euro pound. This is a strange one, guys, really. But on the weekly, right, it's a no-brainer, right? We've come up, price is in an uptrend, we've retraced, right? This represents value in here, and we've got all this room to move back up into. Now, this candle isn't particularly bullish, but we do have a, bottom wick, but we also have a top wick. So this candle isn't, really telling us we must buy euro pound. So we need a bit more information. Let's go down to the day chart, and you can see on the day chart, we haven't broken daily structure. We're still in this uptrend. And again, if we start seeing bullish candles break out of here, something like this, then great. We can start taking price back up to these highs. And this 0.8700 level would be a good level, right? Now, if you think about what I've just shown you, Euro Pound and Euro New Zealand dollar buys, then my next trade, Pound New Zealand dollar, right? This is also a buying opportunity. But what I've just explained to you would suggest Euro New Zealand is the better option, but it doesn't always play out like that, right? You have to see how price action moves during the week and which pair gives you the best setup, because I still like Pound New Zealand dollar, even if I like Euro Pound buys as well, right? You have to see how price is price is a fluid thing. The markets are the most fluid thing. They're as fluid as a river, right? They're changing daily. So we're just going to trade the one that gives us the best setup, right? But Pound New Zealand dollar, again, if we just follow the weekly chart, we're clearly in an uptrend. We've come back down to these lows, literally touched the moving average 20 as well. And we've got a bit of a bullish wick bounce off that level. Can we take price back up to this 2,000-3,000 level is what I'd aim for, right? So that's an interesting trade as well. Again, let me just show you what I'm looking for on the day chart. Yeah, you want to see at this level, you want to start seeing buyers in control. A daily structure break is looking very unlikely, right? Because you would have to wait an incredibly long time, right? Because we're in a downtrend. But price might do this, right? And then we break to the upside, right? In this example, right, you could be more aggressive, right? And trade H4 breaks, right? You like this as a level. Right, we like it as a level, and you can see on the H4 we're in this downtrend. But if we start breaking, all of these highs in here, and we start seeing a H4 uptrend, then this could be the catalyst for buying as well. Right, back up to these highs in here. All right, guys, so that's Pound New Zealand dollar. I've shown you the US dollar pairs. Swiss franc yen is an interesting one. This is like the battle of the flight to safeties, right? Swiss franc and yen, both flight to safety pairs. This is the battle royale between them. And I would suggest Swiss franc is stronger than yen, right? If we look at the weekly chart, right, we was in this downtrend, I'm going to say here, and then bang, we're in this uptrend. Now we have hit resistance. We've broken this high with this candle. Does it have a little bit more room to move into back up to these highs? Yeah, I would suggest yes on the back of that candle. And again, this candle doesn't tell me sellers are in control. Buyers are still in control of this market because of that candle. We have a bit of a bottom wick. Can we take it at least back up to these highs and this 176, right? That's the trade idea. Again, let's take a quick look at the day chart, and the daily is still in an uptrend, right? Yeah. Does price want to come down to this level first? Maybe. And then we see a nice bullish reaction. Okay, great. We can start taking it back up to these highs, right? Or is this bottom wick enough and we're going to start seeing buyers come into the market here, and then we take price up to this high, right? I will let the candles on the day chart and H4 structure determine that for me, okay? Again, I don't think... I do think in general, right? I'm not like brain dead or anything. But, don't form opinions. Don't think too much. Trade, trend, structure, candlesticks, support and resistance. They don't lie to you, right? Just trade the facts. Yeah, don't form opinions. Don't think too much. Right, there you go. There's some advice. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says don't think too much with a thumbs up on my face. You won't want that. But Swiss franc yen buys. Another couple of things I'm looking at, guys, like natural gas. I've started to look at natural gas because a lot of people ask me to analyze it, right? And if we look at the weekly chart, I would say we've got a nice sell trade back down to this level. If I zoom out, you can see my blue line is my target, and you can see why. This is a support, resistance. It's an important level, right? And then if we look at structure, this is the weekly chart because these are swing trades. You can see we're in this downtrend, right? Okay, we've broken these lows in here. We're below the moving average 20. We got a nice big bearish candle here. And all we're trying to do is just come back down into this level, right? Potentially we could, this target, you could probably push down a little bit further, right? Yeah, but we're aiming to take price into this grey zone, okay? And then my last thing we're going to look at is Bitcoin, okay? Now, Bitcoin, from a weekly point of view, right? you know, have we bounced off this level, right? We know this level, oh my God, look at that line, been drinking again, right? We know this level was great and everyone was pinpointing this 75, 74,000 level, right? Everyone's looking at the same level, right? And this actually got down to pretty much 75,000 bang on, right? And we've had this big bullish candle bounce off that level, but it's still in a downtrend, right? This is where we're at. Now, is this a double bottom? Maybe, but the double bottom is only proved once we break this level. So what I want to see with Bitcoin is, you know, a bullish candle that breaks through these highs and therefore breaks weekly structure, right? Once we get that, you know, price could be off again. What you might find is, because we're in this downtrend, right? We know this is support and resistance and this is support. You might see it, you know, Bitcoin just sort of range for a while, yeah, until we get a winner one way or even the other way. Okay, guys. So yeah, guys, if you've enjoyed the vid, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button and smash the like button. Please don't forget to join our trading community, our free Discord. The links are all below. Please check out our website for all of our premium trading education. Have a great trading week and come join us for the live streams throughout the week. See you later, guys.